Istanbul. Mehmet Çelik joins us, the editorial coordinator at Daily Sabah. Mehmet, thank you very much for talking to us. Turkiye endorsed Finland's membership bid in April last year, along with Hungary, but it kept Sweden waiting. Remind us of why there had been this delay.
Turkey has been a NATO member since 1952, and unfortunately, from its traditional allies within NATO, it hasn't received that support that it needed when it comes to security and ensuring security of its sovereignty and its citizens. So this Finland's and Sweden's application to become a member was actually created an opportunity for Turkey to bring this very important issue to be addressed and brought it to them as a concern that it needed support when it comes to its own security. And I think it has been partially successful because Sweden has made some of this adjustments to its constitution when it comes to fight against terrorism. And not only its own traditional allies, but Sweden, as a country that actually hosted PKK activities within its borders, was a big concern for Turkey as a member of the bloc. But it creates a security challenge for the bloc as well. If activities in a country which is a member of the bloc is threatening another member, then it becomes an issue for the whole bloc. So Turkey wanted to make sure that this issue was resolved or brought to the attention of the bloc and addressed at least partially before it actually can ratify. This was one of the concerns, and the other is the security and defense related. Turkey has partially whether they were formal or informal sanctions towards its defense industry. So he wanted to make sure that this is addressed at least to a large extent before it ratifies Sweden's application. Finland was approved a little bit quicker because of Finland's actually steps towards meeting Turkey's concerns. But Sweden took its time with this process, and once it actually, at least to a large extent, met Ankara's demands, then Turkey went ahead. Now the big issue remains still with regards to the F-16s, or whether or not other allies or Sweden will actually take concrete steps when it comes to PKK terrorist organization as a threat towards Turkey or the YPG in northern Syria. Both Sweden and other NATO allies have very close links or very close cooperation or exchanges with the PKK or with the YPG in northern Syria. So these will remain as a challenge, but I think it will become more difficult for Sweden, at least with the new changes to its laws, to continue this support to YPG or the PKK.
And Mehmet, one step closer indeed, but Hungary's ratification is also needed for Sweden to join NATO. How quickly do you see this actually going through?
Well, the parliament in Hungary right now is actually the session is not continuing at the moment, so that needs to be waited. But when it comes to the political statements coming from, the most recent one coming from the Speaker of the Parliament, I think it showed that there was that urgency still. But Mr. Orban's statements said otherwise, where they would like to actually push forward with Sweden's ratifications now that Turkey has ratified, and they are the only country left to ratify the membership for Sweden. So, once the session actually begins in the Parliament, I'm not sure how these diverse voices will be balancing, but I don't see that I don't see that the Swedish process will linger any further now that the only member left is Hungary, despite these differences in opinions coming from Hungarian side. So once the session begins, I think Orban's party will be able to, like the ruling bloc will be able to push forward. Sometimes they push forward their laws in overnight ratification. So I think it should be a very quick one rather than something that will linger any further in 2024.
Mehmet, thank you very much for your time. Mehmet Çelik, live from Istanbul.